Hi, Nancy here. Just quickly talking about grounding and how important it is not only just to ground, but to keep practicing, and the importance of that practice. So it can be something that you're committed to do on a daily basis, sometimes more than once. But it really makes a difference in the way that you show up for other people. And in the article that I wrote this week, which is a reflection of how I managed to go through like ups and downs in emotional bits in my daily life and sometimes at stages of transition. I noticed that recalling one anecdote from my teenager when he was a little 12-year-old made me notice how this is a practice that I have been inserting into my life every day, and it has created this habit that has become part of who I am. And sometimes we still go down the rabbit holes of life, especially when we are having to deal with neurodivergence in relationships. And I'll talk through each part of the sequence, how each part of the sequence helps. I hope you like it. So we start as usual, being aware of where our feet are touching the floor. The posture in Qigong, which is normally one where we can be connecting with our hands slightly, maybe cupped. If you pay attention to the tailbone, we can send that tailbone in connection with the earth, connecting and then dropping. Notice how your posture is upright. And then many times when we are stressed or we are worried, so you can have emotions that are where you negative tension in the neck to keep and some blockages maybe in the body. Sometimes it could be like in the lower part of our body, sometimes it's in like the middle part, and sometimes it's also something that goes maybe headaches. Here I want you to just set them open your arms and feel. So when we start to pay attention to where our body is feeling that tension, your arms, we can and the tension to hear our awareness to bring a little bit of relaxation around the neck and shoulders. And imagine you're holding like very heavy bags. Imagine that all that weight that you're carrying, which is weight that we are carrying constantly with our minds and our thinking or overthinking, worries, deadlines, and things that we need to do for other people or for ourselves, and to-do lists. So we're carrying all these things in the sense of thoughts. And now, understanding how much you're carrying as weight when it comes to connection, which in a way, if you're carrying all that tension, it makes it more difficult to connect with people, especially those loved ones that you are more close to. So from here, I want you to, you're going to do a dropping. It's like you can drop. So you're gonna drop that tension. You drop it. And funny enough, the hands will touch a point in the leg that also helps you with that relaxation, because we have those points in like in acupuncture or acupressure, and you're gonna do that a few times. So now that you have the movement going, we're going to now swing to one side and to the other. And every time that you come to this position here, you're gonna feel that weight, and then we're going to just drop it. Now we don't have to do any, you don't have to make any effort. You're going to just swing to one side and to the other, but these always are effortless movements. And if you want to see how you are maybe moving, if you pay attention, you're moving from the hips. And you have to be gentle with your knees. Your knees are always slightly bent. And if you see the movement, they kind of bend. They have to be flexible. Which brings us to that connection with tolerance. We need to be flexible to tolerate other people. And when we are going through transitions, or we are stressed, or in situations in which maybe even our own our own transitions in life, like for us at this stage of menopause, for example, perimenopause, or our children when they grow into teenagers and they also have their own hormonal ups and downs. We need flexibility. So these movements help us to recognize and remember flexibility. So you get in touch with that flexible side of you. And also with the fact that we are carrying stuff, but we can also drop it. And for us to drop it, we need to have that intention, the intention of dropping what is weighing us down. And feel how your body feels when you're dropping it. And now we're going to add attention onto the breath. So when you're up here, you breathe and then you can release. And every time you release through the mouth that tension. And you can do this for as long as it feels comfortable for you. So we are not only working with the breath here, but we are also warming up. Now you will see that you're going to one side and the other is warming up that spine. There is a little bit of a stretch on that side and the other. And we're activating, moving energy. Now we slow down and pay attention to your breath. And if you place one hand on the lower abdomen and then the other one around the heart, you will feel maybe that heart, the heartbeat slightly raised. And notice how when you breathe in with that wave, with filling up the tummy first. Then from there, we're filling the chest all the way up. And then when we breathe out through the nose, we breathe in like that opposite direction, in which then first the chest goes down and then the lower abdomen. And we can do that a few more times. So you can connect with your breath, and we connect to the now. We pay attention to how oxygen comes in, and excuse the dog. Up and down. And now I want you to follow. We're going to do a slight stretch, opening the sides. So normally I like to do this in the front, but because we were doing that movement on the sides, we're going to do this stretching to the sides. And we see and we feel the opening up and also the contraction here. So we expand and we contract slowly, going to one side and the other. Breathing in when you are going up and breathing out when you are going down. And notice how that feels on your spine. When we are connecting with the breath and the movements of the body, we get more in touch with the now, with the present, with that feeling of safety, that everything is all right. And also with a reminder that we are also taking care of our bodies, as well as taking care of our minds. And the more we practice these movements of being in the present, the more we can connect with exactly the same energy, when we are not feeling so connected, when we are doing the opposite, disconnecting, and that normally happens when we are not in balance. So notice again with your hands by your sides. Notice where do you feel any warmth or tingling sensations. And from here we're going to do a movement for the heart, and this is called cloudy hands. So we bring one hand at the level of the heart and the other one is going to glide when we are turning from the hips effortlessly, and when we are getting to that side we're going to exchange the hands slowly and graciously, and we can turn to the other side. So it's at the level of the heart, and remembering that the heart is that point that we use for that connection, and we hold emotions. So in the same way that we need to those emotions to connect with people, we sometimes have to release whatever is stuck there and blocked, and this movement help us with that moving of energy, so we can transform the hastiness that comes sometimes, and the unloving, maybe also that intolerance, isn't it? And we can bring more empathy and more compassion. With this movement you can breathe in when you go to one side, and then breathe out when you go to the other side, and maybe you can feel some warmth or tingling on your hands or your fingers. And I want you to think that that hand that is down here, imagine that it's touching a lake or just the surface of water, and we are using that element of water to soothe and to calm the fire that we have activated in the heart. Sometimes if it's not balanced, that fire, it can really take us into a very imbalanced way. And for us to connect, especially when we are maybe in those moments of turmoil or moments of anger, when we are connected with those feelings and we have been practicing enough, sometimes, not always, but sometimes we can get to get in touch with this sense of transformation of those negative emotions, so we can bring more of that connection, more of that love and laughter. Sometimes when we are in that moment of escalating emotions, we can sometimes connect with the fun side of things. If we are balanced enough and rooted and grounded enough, we might bring some humor, so we can have some laughter, because laughter is also linked to the heart. Joy, we bring some joy. And I know it's difficult sometimes when we think of having arguments, especially in between menopausal women and their teenager children. But it is possible, as long as we are taking care of our body, so sleeping well, sleeping enough, eating well, healthy, hydrating ourselves, but also with practices like this one, somatic practices that help you also to move whatever is blocking there, because sometimes we have triggers. sometimes when I'm doing this movement, I actually connect with the kidney area and I start feeling warmth over there. Like maybe because I'm also working with that water, I am also releasing some tension or some blockages. And the thing is that when you are being in the present, your body will tell you where to pay more attention. So if I'm, for example, feeling now that maybe there is something there to move from the water element, I might continue to do something with that. And maybe it's not that I need to change something in my practice, but maybe it's just recognizing that maybe like water, I must pay attention more into how to flow better or how to become like water, in which we can adapt to the shapes and forms that we have around us. Or obviously in a metaphorical way, but we can also adapt and we can be more tolerant with whoever we are dealing with, especially when dealing with stubborn teenagers or when those teenagers have to deal with this stubborn mom. And like that we can bring, as I said before, some other elements of the heart and the fire: laughter, love, compassion, and connection. And that connection can also bring us closer to others that we need around us to be able to cope with those ones we have closer to us. Because it's important to notice that we also need the connection with those that are supporting us in that sense of circles of support. So perhaps this practice also sometimes will point you in the direction of where you need to access more help. And sometimes it will also make you notice where you can help others. Because sometimes we are so much into our own bubble of problems that we forget we can also help others. And let's do one more to each side. And come to the center again. And now we can do a little, I know these ones are harder, but a standing position. And we can embrace the tree. So imagine you are embracing that tree. And your knees are flexible. Maybe if you pay attention to that weight of your body on the floor and pay attention to the weight of your body and how your knees are flexible. So not all the weight is in one point. And even the points of the feet, we have certain points we pay attention to. There is the middle part of the foot where we can feel that grounding. But there is also the sense that the body weight is spread onto the whole sole of the feet. And you breathe in and out, imagining a calmer you after these few minutes of grounding and of connecting with the present. And I want you to think of the clearing you have done, because some movements at the beginning are for clearing, the activating of that energy, so you can circulate energy with the aim of transforming that which does not contribute to our well-being. And with gratitude, which also comes from the heart, I want you to think and to imagine that now you're being not only holding that tree, but the tree is also holding our weight. Your arms might feel a little bit of tension, or maybe you can pay attention to the shoulders. Our shoulders sometimes want to lift all the time with that tension towards the ears. So you know, in those moments of tension, when the moment hits and your body feels that certain blockage, you remember this posture, and you remember that you're very well supported by grounding. You breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. But they remind us that if we pay attention to where those tense points are in the body, just by noticing them, they relax. Now you can bring your hands down. You can gather that energy that you cultivated and center it. You come up and down. You breathe in when the hand goes up and breathe out through the nose when it comes down. With the next hand, we go up and down and gather all that energy. We center it. This is an excellent movement to do when you are about to have, if you're working, you can have a meeting. This is very good for centering your energy. Or when you're going to have a family meeting, or a talk or a chat with your teens, with your children. This helps you center yourself. So if there is anything that could heat up the conversation, you know that with all that stored energy, we do one more to each side, you are grounded enough to come back to the center, which is where we need to return to. So we restored our energy. Put your feet together and let that motion takes you to the sides, or sometimes it feels like spiraling, but it's just a good reminder that wherever your day takes you, you can always come back to that restored you, to the center. And if you want to know why I came up with this sequence, it came up from that article that I mentioned, so I will just put the link below if you want to go and read it. Okay, until next week. Bye.